Facilities Committee. It'll be chaired by Trustee Caswell.
Yep, thank you. Yeah, so we met this month, my first month as chair, and we'll have one resolution that we'll bring forward to the board this month. And that'll be a resolution related to our external auditors for the coming year.
Anybody have any questions? I believe that we all received now the bids from all three of the auditors.
Yes.
So, thank you, Steve. Anybody have any questions? So I'm going to add just something really quickly. Next would be for the policy committee, because we had a question from a trustee, Trustee Pratt, who was asking about the anti-bullying policy.
Yes, just in looking at the anti-bullying policy, I had just one question at the end when it says what the ramifications are for an employee's violation of the anti-bullying policy. I was wondering what the ramifications would be for a student and or visitor to the campus, and if this would be outlined here or elsewhere.
That's an excellent question. I don't believe that we can discipline visitors to the campus. I may be incorrect.
Could you bar them?
Yes, we can bar individual visitors to the campus.
And exit them from and walk them off campus as well.
Right, but in a case like that, the public safety would be involved in terms of escorting those individuals off campus and maybe arrested if it comes to that point. And then it's handled through the justice.
The legal system.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
We didn't actually answer the question about the students that are bullying each other. And I don't know what that answer is either, per se. That's what I thought. Well, actually, can one of you say that louder so it can be in the minutes? Or we don't take minutes.
The student code of conduct.
Thank you. Does that answer that?
Thank you.
Then the next time, if that's all from Finance Facilities, any other questions? And nothing for policy either, then next would be the enrollment update, which you're going to give us tonight, Peter.
Right. So I will not do this the kind of justice that Scott does. But at this point, we are at 3,656 students enrolled for 42,500 credits, which is 551 more students, which is about 18% over where we were the same time last year, and 6,496 credits more than we had at this time last year, or 18% more. In terms of matriculated new students, we are at almost 1,450 registered at this point. There are almost 400 more new students at this point over last year. In terms of applications, our applications stand at about 4,165, and that's 18% more applications than we had last year. We are at 240 students in the residence hall who are our students, DCC students. We still have students from CIA, and we reduced the number of rooms that we lease out to the Anderson Center by 2, which allowed us to get to the 240. And we still have 20 students on the waiting list that Scott and members of his team are trying to make sure we place. So continuing to look good. At this point, the numbers seem to be holding. We have to see what the rest of this week will bring. As we expected, things are slowing down because we had a number of students who, especially returning students who registered early. So we are seeing slower traffic at this point, which will give staff a break in terms of the rate that they've been working at so far and over the summer, the spring and summer. Any questions about where we are?
Peter, when you say where we are, I just want to be sure that you're comparing last year, this date, to this year, this year.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then, can we get a breakdown of the counties that the students are coming to the residence hall?
Sure, yeah, we can do that.
Obviously, this is fantastic news.
What's the percentage of in-person versus online enrollment?
So it's been holding at about 70-30, 70% in person and 30 virtually. That is about 10% difference in either direction from last year. Yeah. So more students are opting to attend in person. And faculty, I had the privilege of attending the DAC retreat, that is the Departmental Advisory Affairs Council. Still getting used to all of our acronyms after 2 years. And one of the things that they were talking about is how faculty are working with students along with advisors to make sure when students do poorly in online courses that they're really advised and counseled to shift the modality to make sure that they are getting the most out of the education and that they're being more successful. So it is a granular sort of intentional approach that's being taken to advising students about online versus in person as well. So shows the kind of tender loving care that faculty and staff provide for students.
Any other questions or comments? I can't wait for this first classes to start, and Maya can start interacting with the new classes we have, and new students that we have too, so we're looking forward to that. The next item on the agenda for the workshop are liaison reports, and Chair Castella is our liaison to the DCC Foundation, right?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. The foundation will be receiving a $250,000 from a request from the David J. Conklin Fund, and that will be the son of Charlie Conklin, Charlie Conklin. The foundation's pilot alumni engagement program supports enrollment initiatives by inviting students who have already graduated from DCC, received a certificate, or have completed 45 credits and have been away from DCC for 5 to 10 years to return to take a class at no charge to them. The program was set up to provide this opportunity to 50 alum. To date, we have met that goal. The County Youth Development Board awarded $10,000 to the DCC Foundation in support of DCC Carers Surviving to Thriving program to provide post-secondary education, dropout prevention, and increase the retention and graduation rates of Dutchess County students between 17 and 21 years old who are housing insecure, lack material basics, and struggle with mental health issues. The grant will provide direct support, such as emergency housing, transportation, technology access, and access to basic materials. Diana is currently in conversations with 3 separate individuals regarding potential new scholarships in the foundation. Just a reminder that Dr. David Conklin Lecture hosting Dr. Jim Downs is on September the 14th. Dinner will be at 5:30 and the lecture at 7. Handel Foundation Endowment Faculty Chair to perpetuate the legacy of Franklin and Eleanor Roosevelt dinner and lecture will be held on October the 12th. Save the date. Dinner will be at 5:30 and the lecture at 7. The keynote, Shannon McKenna Schmidt, speaking on her book, The First Lady of World War II, Eleanor Roosevelt's Daring Journey to the Front Lines and Back. Formal invitations will follow. And just quickly as a side note, very exciting news, Dr. Jordan will be our keynote speaker at the Chamber's Contact Breakfast on November the 15th. So thank you for agreeing to do that. So mark your calendar.
Forward to it.
That concludes our foundation report.
Thank you, Frank. So the chamber breakfasts are at 7:30, usually at the Poughkeepsie Grand, unless you've changed venue.
Same?
So if anybody wants to join me, I'll get a table for DCC personally. Just let me know, because I think it'd be nice for us, or as many of us, to be there to show support as possible.
Great.
So.
I thought you were buying a table of heckles.
Who said we weren't going to hecklers as well?
Who said we weren't going to heckle?
But no, I think this would be really great. So I'll email everybody out to see who all can make it. I mean, it is early, but they're pretty good. They're excellent, actually. It's not pretty good. They're excellent at stopping on time, as always. So, but you're out by 9 o'clock.
Correct.
Because they really do run it with a crisp whip. And if we don't have enough trustees, anybody can join us over there. So thank you. That's great news. And good for you, Peter, that you agreed. DCC Association, we still haven't met since our last meeting, but we did have two items that I want to report back on. First, we did a virtual vote because we needed to very quickly establish a policy so we could have more tripling in the dorm rooms because of the backlog that we had for waiting, so we did pass that. Also, we actually now have new liaisons for our bonding bank, key bank, so we've been meeting with the two gentlemen quarterly. We used to meet with Yuri, who gave a pass off to us. And the reason I'm saying this is just because Yuri would have probably been doing somersaults with us because of the enrollment increase and the fact that there's a waiting line to get into the dorm. But they're like, so when can you actually break even on the dorm? And it was pointed out by the accountant, Chris Descanio, for the association, that because of interest rates increasing the way they have, we can be completely filled up right now and we'll still slightly lose money, because that's just how much the interest rates have gone up for it. And yes, someone who works at a bank is also nodding because you hear the same thing. So
Tripled almost.
our interest rates have gone incredibly high, so it's kind of crippling to us. And their suggestion was that we should try to start raising money to offset the costs, which more or less some of us said, if we're going to raise money, we have lots of other buildings that need work too. That this is a fairly new dorm, which the only other solution that would be to try to raise your room rates, which would then again tend to dampen the ability of most of our students to stay there, as well as probably reduce the demand because it's too high. So we're going to keep working on this, but the reason why I'm saying all this too is because, of course, what we'd really like to do is to see interest rates lowered and a fixed rate mortgage. But that's not going to happen.
Contact your local representative.
Yes, it's not going to happen anytime soon.
Contact all of your local representatives.
So, anyone have any questions about the association? We'll be meeting again. I think. Sorry, when we are meeting again, but we will be meeting again. And I'll make the report. So, if there's nothing else, then this will end the workshop, and we have 35 minutes in which you can go run, play, come to your hair, go to the bathroom, have a cocktail, whatever you want.
Don't go too far.
Where's the
Start back up
cocktails?
inside.
Where's the cocktails?
Because I kind of drug that out.
The other tonight.
It's very nice to meet you too.
I must have a weight at the bottom of this sign. It doesn't want to move me.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I don't think this is on. Thank you for joining us at our August 22nd meeting. Ms. Ponticello, may you please call the roll?
Mr. Frank Costello,
Present.
Mr. Stephen Caswell,
Present.
Ms. Dara Cloud,
Here.
Ms. Maya Chinkan, Mr. Michael Dupree,
Here.
Ms. Angela Flesland,
Present.
Ms. Lisa Ghartey, Mr. Ibis Guzman,
Present.
Ms. Evelyn Panici,
Here.
Ms. Linda Pratt.
Here.
Quorum present.
Thank you. Before we do the Pledge of Allegiance, I want to make sure that I introduce our newest trustee, Evelyn Panici, down the way. We're all delighted that Evelyn's here joining us. She takes the place of Sheila Appel. As I told Sheila when Sheila first said that she couldn't renew, and said, I think that there's a person who might be serving after me named Evelyn Panici. I went, oh my gosh, I can't think of anybody with the same stature who could do this. So welcome, Evelyn. We can't wait to have you.
Thank
Welcome. And for your first meeting, would you like to lead into the Pledge of Allegiance?
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We've done the roll call, so the next item on the agenda would be approval of the agenda. And may I get a motion to table item 7D1? So moved.
It has to be introduced before you can take it.
Is that how it works? I haven't done this in a while. Okay, then we'll wait to go to the, thank you very much. May I get a motion to approve the agenda as submitted?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? That motion carries. No person signed up to speak about an agenda item tonight for public comment, which leads us then to the consideration of minutes for our meeting of July 25th. Has everyone had a chance to read the minutes? Yes?
Yes.
And
Second.
thank you. We have a motion to approve and second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion, any nays or abstentions? Motion carries unanimously, and nice job, Joya, as I told you when I first read through them. Thank you. The next item on the agenda are committee reports. As a reminder, all items discussed tonight under committee reports have been discussed when the committees meet, as well as earlier in the evening at times. Academic and student affairs, we don't have any report from. We do have some report, right? That's what I thought.
You want me to?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Dara Cloud?
Yeah. We met Tuesday, August 15th at 6 o'clock on Zoom. Adam Rathbun spoke to the committee about our 5-year capital plan and how it relates to our next 10 facilities master plan. In 2024, 7 capital plan projects will be brought forward for the year. We anticipate providing more information on each of those projects this fall. Concurrent enrollment, President Jordan provided an update on that. 11 school districts as of that date in Dutchess County have signed MOAs, and we're still waiting to hear back from 3 school districts. We discussed the one-time payment for President Jordan. There were no questions on the resolution. We discussed the PSA shared governance, and Thomas Descanio joined the committee meeting to discuss the PSA, which we, if you remember, when Middle States was here, was one of the more important things to them that we have here. So they talked about forming their bylaws. And the fall convocation was an informational update. And events will be taking place all through the day, and it sounds exciting.
Thank you, Trustee Cloud. Any questions for Dara? I just want to say it was a pleasure to sit on the committee meeting as well. I enjoyed being with you guys that day. The next item on the agenda would be board policy, chaired by Ibis Guzman. Ibis.
Thank you. Just a quick summary for the board policy that was held August 9th at 4 p.m. Before I go through this, I do have some resolutions towards the end, but I'm missing 43. Ms. Joya, if I could trouble you for that. I have 42, 44, and then I'm skipping to the other ones. So if I could trouble you for that, I apologize.
Yeah.
I don't have it either.
Sorry.
Oh,
40, this one says 44 as well.
Oh.
So I think it's
Okay.
misnumbered, yeah.
Okay, so I wasn't, I
Yeah,
apologize.
Let me read it, it's the right one.
First, the committee on that August 9th meeting, we discussed 3 policies that are up for reaffirmation at tonight's meeting. We also had a discussion on disposal of surplus equipment policy. Further revisions need to be made to that procedure for disposing items under $1,000. The committee also discussed a new policy for remote meetings under extraordinary circumstances. It was the consensus of the committee to further discuss some of the contents of that policy with hopes to bring them forward at our next month's meeting. We also discussed the fall convocation that is to be held with some excellent events throughout the day. Then I will move forward to some reaffirmations that we have. I first bring Resolution 2023-42, which is the anti-bullying policy. I offer the following resolution and move to its adoption, where in keeping with good governance practices, the Board of Trustees Policy Committee reviews board and college administrative policies on a regular basis, and whereas based upon this review, the Policy Committee has determined that the anti-bullying policy should be reaffirmed and remain in effect. Now, therefore, it be resolved that based upon the recommendations of the Policy Committee, the aforementioned anti-bullying policy is hereby reaffirmed and is to remain in effect, and be it further resolved that the board reconsider this policy again within 5 years or earlier, should it be determined revisions are needed prior to the scheduled review date.
is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Linda. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? Motion carries.
I offer resolution number 2023-43, which is the social media policy. I offer the following resolution and move to its adoption. Whereas based on the policy review, the policy committee has determined that the social media policy should be reaffirmed and remain in effect. Now, therefore, be resolved that based upon the recommendations of the policy committee, the aforementioned social media policy is hereby reaffirmed and is to remain in effect until it, and be it further resolved that the board reconsider this policy again within 5 years or earlier, should it be determined revisions are needed prior to the scheduled review date.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Angela. Any further discussion? There being none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? Motion carries unanimously as well.
And last, I offer resolution 2023-44 and offer the following resolution, move to its adoption. Whereas based upon this review, the policy committee has determined that the mandatory reporting and prevention of child sexual abuse policy should be reaffirmed and remain in effect. Now, therefore, it be resolved that based upon the recommendations of the policy committee, the aforementioned mandatory reporting of and prevention of child sexual abuse policy is hereby reaffirmed and is to remain in effect. And be it further resolved that the board reconsider this policy again within 5 years or earlier, should it be determined revisions are needed prior to the scheduled review date.
May I receive a second?
Second.
Thank you, Linda. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? Motion carries as well. Thank you, Chair Guzman, for all that work in coming up with reaffirmation of the policies. Next item on the agenda is the Finance and Facilities Committee, chaired by Trustee S.Caswell.
All right, thank you. All right, so this committee met on August 14th, and the first thing we addressed was the budget update. Adam Rathburn provided the committee with an update on the DCC operating budget and was happy to report that the DCC 2023-24 budget was on the consent agenda for the board meeting of the county legislator that evening, the 14th, and it was approved that evening, and then it was filed with SUNY 2 days later. So we are all set with our upcoming year's budget. We also reviewed the capital budget items and discussed the 7 capital projects that will need funding in 2024. And President Jordan spoke to the committee about having future meetings throughout the year with the county legislature to discuss the master plan in an effort to maximize their awareness prior to a vote on the 5-year capital plan. You know, just an objective that Dr. Jordan came up with to really keep the lines of communication open with the legislature, so that they're, you know, that we, the DCC board, is not just showing up once a year or twice a year. So I think this will pay dividends and answer questions in advance of, you know, appearing before the legislature. The next item was the management confidential raises. Dr. Jordan discussed the raises. The cost of these raises are budgeted in this fiscal year and average out to about 4%, which is in line with the due agreement. We also discussed the one-time payment to Dr. Jordan, which is a resolution on the agenda for tonight. And the appointment of new auditors. Adam Rothbun advised that the current contract with our internal auditing firm has expired. A request for proposal for auditing services was issued. The college received 3 responses. Based on the responses received, the college is recommending the firm of Bonadio and Company, LLP, be awarded a 1-year contract, which is represented in your board packet for tonight. And I will move on and make that resolution right now. That's resolution 2023-45. And I offer the following resolution and move its adoption. Whereas a request for proposals was duly advertised and requested for independent auditing services, and whereas 3 requests for proposals were received as a result of this solicitation for independent auditing services, RFP DCC 09-2023, requested on or prior to August 1st, 2023, and whereas vendors submitted proposals for the college, the DCC Foundation, and the DCC Association, as shown on the tabulation sheet attached to this resolution. And whereas the request for proposal received by Bonadio and Company meets the required specifications, and whereas funds for the independent audit services will be made available in the operating budgets associated with the terms of the contract, now therefore be it resolved that a 1-year contract for independent audit services for the college, in accordance with the specifications, be awarded to Bonadio and Company, LLP, for the fiscal year 2023-2024 in the amount of $50,000. And be it further resolved that the contract will have an option for 4 1-year renewals.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Just want to add that when I was first appointed, we did have P.K. O'Connor Davies, which I mentioned. I hadn't seen the tabulation sheet. When I opened it, I almost keeled over. I can't believe how high they've gone. That's maybe why we changed auditors in the first place. Also, the newer firm that bid, which was RBT LLP, I thought they did a good job. They are thin on the experience with community colleges, whereas Bonadio has tons and tons, and they've been our auditors, so there won't be any increased time for costs as they get to know what we're doing here. So I think you guys did a great decision, in other words. So all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? That motion carries unanimously as well. And Chair Caswell, I want to thank you personally for your leadership in the legislature on the budget, because I know that you were the one actually handling all the questions for us at first, before we got out there.
Yeah.
And I think actually it'll be a help for the administration to be at the legislature, so it doesn't just fall on your shoulders. So, but I really do want to appreciate it and say thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Last item on this portion of the agenda for committee reports is Personnel and Community Relations, chaired by Trustee Flesland.
Thank you. Personnel and Community Relations did not meet in August, so So for that reason and that reason alone, the one resolution that is coming before us under our committee will be tabled. So I'm going to read the resolution, get a second, and then I'm going to immediately request that it be tabled.
Thank you.
So resolution 2023-46, I offer the following and move its adoption. Now therefore be it resolved that in recognition of the outstanding job done by President Peter Jordan during his first year at Dutchess Community College, the board hereby approves a one-time payment of $50,000. Be it further resolved that this one-time payment is to be paid and deferred as determined by President Jordan. Is there a second?
Second.
I make a motion to table this resolution.
Is that seconded?
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? That motion carries unanimously as well. Thank you, Angela, very much. The next item on the agenda is for Maya, report of the student trustee. Don't worry.
I mean, nothing to report just yet, but I am excited to start reporting stuff for the trustees and excited for the academic year.
Do you know when Falcon Fest is going to take place this year?
No, unfortunately.
I believe it starts, is it this first Thursday? It's the first Thursday after Monday, the first class, so it'll be a week from tomorrow.
Okay.
And for, well, I don't know if you've been to it yet, but for the trustees, if you can make it, it's really fun, it's outdoors, and the students love seeing trustees, I promise. The first one I went to, they were doing, it was, I can't remember which club it was, but they had you put your hands in things like you were when you were going into the haunted house for Halloween to guess what the results were. And so the spaghetti, I guess, was, intestines, and they said, yes! So at any rate, it's a fun thing to do with the kids, so if you can make it, I'll have Joya send out the notice of what times, but it's a couple of days. But it takes place mostly outside, and it's the student clubs who are doing this. And I find myself it's just a great way to interact with our students. They don't look at you as though you're some trustee because they see you putting your hands in guts. So, at any rate, it's a different kind of experience, so I encourage it. Also, I asked Trustee Guzman to chair a candidate search committee. What that means is that this would be in this year, as our fiscal term, we start a new year next year, so we have to reorganize with new officers every September. So Ibis will chair that. I'm going to appoint as part of that Lisa Ghartey and Trustee Costella. So if anyone is interested in serving as secretary, vice chair, or chair, just send a note to Ibis and why you want to run, why you want to do it, if you want to attach your resume. I have announced that I will be expressing interest in running for chairperson one last time. Thank you. But if anybody would like to do it, I can step back. In a second. No, I'm not saying it yet. Okay.
You couldn't be so lucky.
Okay, thank you. So for the rest of the report, I just want a few things to highlight. In Allied Health and Biological Sciences, they've actually required an anatomotage table, which we'll use in classes starting the fall semester. Peter actually showed me, so when we were interviewing for you, Adam, we were discussing things with you, you would show me the anatomotage table. It's like a big computer screen, but a table, and it shows the live anatomy of individuals. So it's a visualization, but you can do virtual dissection for anatomy, et cetera, so you're not working on cadavers, you're working on a really high-tech instrument. And when Peter showed it to me, I was like, we need to get one of these. We have one now, so this is great because it's taking our anatomy and physiology courses up a level. In nursing, 4 of our 2002-3 graduates of the nursing AAS degree program attempted and passed the National Council Licensure Examination, the NCLEX, to become registered nurses. The exam was administered in June 2023, and this was their first stab at taking it as well. In Learning Commons, DCC had another strong semester, open educational resources. For those who are new trustees, OERs are where instead of students buying books, you use online resources so they're open to all. And it's a great savings for students. We right now have 46 OER courses with additional 11 more in development. And between fall 2022 and summer 2023, we ran over 460 OER course sections. The cumulative student savings for course materials starting in fall 2017 when this began to summer 2023 exceeds $3.2 million. So this is actually a tribute to our faculty as well as the administration working together in partnership on this. In the Institutional Effectiveness Department, as pointed out earlier, SUNY has been awarded $250,000 to DCC through the SUNY Child Care Expansion Act. This is going to help serve infants and school-age children. This is very exciting to me. This past week, Dr. Jordan responded to a request from Middle States Commission on Higher Education, our accreditation agency. The commission reached out to ask permission to use the DCC self-study report, and I see only one of the authors here tonight present, so you get all the accolades, Susan. Even though I know it was a team effort between you and Michael and Scott. But still, they're actually they want to use this report as an exemplar for other colleges who are embarking on their reaccreditation journey and will be participating with Middle States in the Self-Study Institute. So not only did Dr. Jordan approve the request with pride, but also appreciation to the hometown team who did it. So congratulations. Year-long effort paid off big time. So all of us up here are proud of you. That's all I can say. So thank you. That concludes my report. And that brings me to the President's report. Peter?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, I want to recognize in the audience, first time in person attending, the new president of DO, Dr. Lord Murphy, who I think everyone knows, but congratulations on rising to that level. Look forward to working with you. In addition, you've heard about convocation. Tomorrow, trustees will receive official invitations so that you can see the specific events that will be happening through convocation. In addition, I want to say that I had the privilege of attending a gallery exhibit that was featuring Trustee Pratt in Beacon. It was just extraordinary. I had a great time, learned a lot about you. Congratulations on that exhibition. It was great work. Great work.
Thank you guys
Yes.
for coming.
Yes.
It was a surprise.
Well, wouldn't have
Thank
missed
you.
it. The only other thing that I want to say is thank you on behalf of our faculty, staff, and students to members of the county legislature for passing the 23-24 fiscal year budget with a 2% increase in county sponsorship. Our thanks and appreciation to each of the members, and if they're not watching, I'm sure you will let them know, Trustee Caswell.
I will, yes, thank you.
That we are thoroughly appreciative. Okay. Mr. Chairman, that does it for my report this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Jordan. The next item on the agenda is other business. Would anyone like to propose anything new for a future agenda in terms of new business? They're being done, and it's my duty today to note that the date of the next meeting is September 19th, and I want to thank my colleagues up here because the normal date would have been, I believe, the 26th, and I couldn't make that. I'll be in Portugal for a christening. So we'll have a little bit of early meeting, and if there's nothing else, then may I get a motion to adjourn?
So, second.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? Thank you, and thanks everyone for being here tonight and for recording, et cetera, for future viewing. That was